Previously on The Seagull.
I shall commence.
I, the spirit of the universe, I alone am immutable and eternal. The demon.
Something smells. Is that part of the effect?
Very sorry, I forgot that only the chosen few can write plays or act in them.
He's just a selfish, spoiled child.
Boris Alexievich Trigorin.
Oh, I'm so honored.
How painful it is that I'm in love with Konstantin.
The actor who I granted you over to Belfast. Son
Here,
of
stand up a minute. Over here, right by me. You're, what, 22? I'm almost twice your age. Doctor, which one of us looks younger?
You do. Of course.
There. You see, and why? Because I work all the time. I'm always on the go. I live life to the fullest. You do nothing. You just sit here. You never live. I have a fixed rule. I don't think about the future. I don't think about old age. I don't think about dying. Whatever happens, happens.
I always felt as if I'd been born ages ago, just dragging myself from one day to the next like the hem of my skirt. There's some days where I just don't even feel like living, but that's all silly, right? I should probably stop feeling like that, pull myself together.
Well, you see, darling, I always take care of my appearance. I'm always tailored, always fit. Yes, that's the phrase. My hair is always done. I'm always perfectly dressed. Everything. Comme il faut. You think I would go out even to the garden in a housecoat or with my hair a mess? Never. That is why I still look so young. There's nothing frumpy about me. I never let myself go the way some women do. You see how light on my feet I am? I can play a girl of 15 with no trouble at all.
Well, can I keep reading? Suppose I should. Where do we leave off? The brain mentioning the rats.
The rats, right. Go on.
Yes, well.
No, better yet, give me the magazine. I'll read. It's my turn anyway.
Sure.
Oh, the rats. Oh, here we are. But of course, for people to get involved with writers and to try to make them a part of their circle is as dangerous as it is for a grain merchant to raise rats in his barn. But they love to do it. So when a woman wants to make conquest of a particular writer, she flatters him, beguiles him with compliments, favors, entertainments. Well, that may be true in France, but we don't do things that way here. We're not so cynical here. What usually happens here is a woman tries to seduce a writer and winds up head over heels in love with him. Thank you very much. Just take myself a Trigorin, for instance.
Yes, are we happy? Are we really, really happy? Did our father and our stepmother go away and leave us by ourselves for 3 whole days? You know, are we happy?
Yes, we're happy. And now I can finally be with you.
Doesn't she look pretty today?
Yes, very interesting. What a smart girl. Her clothes are perfect. But we mustn't overdo it on the compliments, must we? Otherwise we'll spoil her. Where's Boris?
Down at the dock, fishing.
How does that man keep from getting bored?
What are you reading?
Oh, variety, darling. But the rest is boring. Anyway, it's not true. What is the matter with my son? Do you know? Why is he so bored all the time? And why is he so distant? He spends days by the sea. I never see him anymore. Well, he's depressed. Why don't you read something from his play, will you?
Why? It's so boring.
You should see whenever he recites something from his play. His eyes burn, his face gets very pale and intense. He has such a sad, beautiful voice. You can tell he's a real poet.
Nighty night. Sleep tight.
Petrushka,
You fell asleep.
I did not.
You haven't been taking your medicine, dear. You simply must.
I would. But the doctor, he won't give me any medicine.
You're 60 years old, medicine won't help.
But I want to go on living, even at 60.
All right. I'll take a couple aspirin.
Well, I think you should go to a spa somewhere. Go take the waters.
Fine. Why not? If he wants to go take the waters, let him. Or not, whatever.
Well, how are we supposed to understand that?
What is there to understand? Seems clear enough to me.
Well, you really should be to stop smoking.
Oh, don't be silly. There's nothing wrong with smoking.
He's not being silly. He's right. Smoking, drinking, they change your personality. You smoke a cigar, take a drink of vodka. You're no longer Pyotr Nikolaevich. You're Pyotr Nikolaevich plus something else. Something that changes your identity entirely. You're no longer the real you.
You are a funny one to talk. You lived an interesting life. Me, I worked for 28 years in a government office and I haven't had a life. I haven't experienced it or anything, and I want to. You understand what I mean? You've done everything, you've been everywhere. It's easy for you to get philosophical. You don't care anymore, but I want to live. Which is why I drink sherry after dinner and smoke cigars and everything.
Look, nobody said life was easy. Frankly, complaining at your age, complaining you wasted your youth, well, excuse me, but I think that's just being silly.
Okay, I think it's just about lunchtime. Oh, sorry. My foot's gone asleep. There we go.
She'll have a couple of vodkas before lunch.
Poor girl's never been happy.
That means nothing.
You talk like a man who's had everything.
Oh, what could be more boring than this divine country boredom? It's hot, it's quiet, nobody does a thing, we all just sit here and talk. You know, my dears, I do love it here, but if I were working right now, in a room in a hotel somewhere memorizing lines for a new play, that would be heaven.
Oh yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Well, I mean, of course, you're always better off in town. You've got your own office. No one gets in to see you without an appointment. And you've got your own telephone. I mean, if you just want to go someplace, just call a cab or something.
You say tomato, I say tomato.
Ah, here they are. Beautiful day. Glad to see you all looking so well. Mwah. Mwah. My wife tells me that you're both planning to go into town later today, is that correct?
If that's what we were planning, yes.
That's wonderful, dear madam. Only we're bringing in the ride today. All the men are busy, so are the horses. So, how exactly were you planning on getting there?
How? What do you mean, how? How should I know?
We have drivers.
Drivers! Yes, we have drivers, but what about the ride? Where do you expect me to get another farmhand? This really is incomprehensible. My dear madam, you have to excuse me. I am your greatest admirer. I'll give you 10 years of my life, but I cannot give you any men.
This is ridiculous. Suppose I have to go to town.
My dear madam, do you have any idea what it takes to run an estate?
For Christ's sakes, it's always the same thing. Fine, if that's the way things are, I'm leaving. I'm going back to the city today. Have them hire me a taxi in the village, or I'll just walk to the station.
Fine then. Find yourselves another manager. I quit!
Every summer, it's always the same thing. I come out here, everybody insults me. I never want to set foot in this place again.
Oh, this is outrageous! This is... Oh, we're having enough of this. I mean, really. Go tell them to bring the car up here at once.
But she's a famous actress. How could you? I just can't believe this. Anything she wants, anything her heart desires is more important than this farm of yours.
What can I do? Put yourself in my position. What can I do?
Come on, everybody. We'll go talk to her. Come on. We'll go persuade her to stay.
Don't say that.
No, that man is impossible. He is a tyrant.
Oh, this is just terrible.
Yes, it is. It is just terrible. But he won't quit. You'll see. I'll talk him out of it.
People are ridiculous. You should have let your husband down in his ear once and for all. Now let him the way it always does. That old lady Pyotr Nikolaevich and his sister will wind up apologizing to him. Just wait and see.
You sent all the men out to the field. And every day it's something else. If only you knew how upset it makes me. I get sick to my stomach. I really do. I mean, look, my hands are shaking. Oh, he's so vulgar. I just can't stand him anymore. I really can't. Evgeny, dear, my darling, please take me away from here. Let me live with you. I mean, we're not getting any younger, but it's not too late. Let's stop lying and pretending that our lives are over.
Look, I'm 55 years old. It's a little late for a change of life, don't you think?
I know why you want to be rid of me. Because you've got lots of other women, don't you? You can't have them all live with you, can you? I understand. I bore you, don't I?
No, you don't.
I'm dying of jealousy. And what do you care? You're a doctor, you see lots of women. I understand.
What's going on over there?
Irina Nikolaevna is crying, and Peter Nikolaevich is having a panic attack.
Come on, you're gonna need a couple aspirin.
Here, these are for you. What beautiful flowers. Give me those flowers, come on. It's so strange watching a great actress cry, and all over nothing. And even stranger seeing a famous writer. Everybody loves his work. He gets written about in all the papers, and all he wants to do is fish. And he was so proud of himself because he got too little perch. I thought famous people were supposed to be serious and unapproachable, that they'd all hate publicity and hate being famous. But no. They cry and go fishing and play cards and laugh and get mad, just like the rest of us.
You all by yourself here?
Yes? What's this supposed to mean?
I've been a bad boy. I killed a seagull this morning in your honor.
What's the matter with you?
I intend to shoot myself one of these days, just like this.
I don't recognize you anymore.
Sure, that's because I don't recognize you anymore. You've changed. You look at me with these cold eyes. You're always on edge when I'm around.
Well, you've been trying to pick a fight with me for days now. You sulk, you talk, and I can't understand what you mean. Like that seagull. Is that supposed to be a symbol too? Well, excuse me, but I don't quite get it. I must be too ordinary a person to understand what you mean.
It started that night my play was such a howling failure. I burned it every last page. I'm so unhappy you don't even know. When you called me like this, I can't believe it. It scares me. It's like I woke up one morning and the entire ocean had just disappeared right into the ground. And you said just now you were too ordinary to understand me. Why? What's so hard to understand? Nobody liked my play. You think my ideas are stupid. You think I'm mediocre. You think I'm a failure, just like they all do. I understand that. I understand you. God. I feel like somebody pounded a nail into my head. God damn it. Here comes the real talent. Behold, he enters. Just like Hamlet, he was reading a book too. Words, words, words. While the sun rises, his rays barely touch you, and already you're smiling. Your eyes are melting in the heat of his rays. Well, excuse me, I'll get out of your way. Just Coke? Drinks? Always was
Boris Alexievich. Hello.
Hello? There's been an unexpected turn of events. I gather we'll be leaving today. And you and I haven't even gotten to know each other. Too bad. It's so rare that I meet young, interesting girls your age. I forget what they're like. I can't remember anymore how people feel at 18 or 19. That's why the young girls in my stories never ring quite right. I'd love to be in your shoes, just for a moment. Just to know what you're thinking and what kind of person you are.
And I'd love to be in your shoes.
Why?
To see what it feels like to be a famous writer. What does fame feel like? How do you know when you're finally famous?
I don't know, I never think about it. Either you're exaggerating my fame or there's no feeling involved. I don't feel anything.
What about when you read your name in the papers?
If they like you, it's fine. If they don't, you feel irritable for a couple days.
What a wonderful life. You don't know how much I envy people like you. People's destinies are just so different. Some people drag along unnoticed and boring. They're all alike, and they're all unhappy. Then there are others. Like, for instance, you. You're one in a million. Your life turned out bright, interesting, full of meaning. You're happy.
I'm happy. You talk about fame, about happiness, about some bright, interesting life, but those are just big words. They don't mean anything to me. Sorry. They're like gumdrops, which I never eat. You are very young and very nice.
But you have such a beautiful life.
What's so wonderful about it? I'm sorry. It's time for me to get to work. Writing. I'm sorry. I can't. You stepped on my favorite sore toe. I think that's the expression, and I'm getting upset and a little angry. All right. Let's talk, shall we? Let's talk about my bright, interesting life. Where should we start? Sometimes people get obsessive about things. Ideas. Like a man who spends all his time, let's say, looking at the moon, staring at the moon. Well, I have a moon of my own. All I can think about, day and night, is having to write. I have to write. I have to. I finish one story, and then I have to write another one, and then a third. And after that, a fourth. I write without stopping, like an express train. It's the only way I know how. Now, what is so beautiful and bright about that, I ask you? It's a stupid life. Here I am talking to you, I'm all worked up, and I can't forget for a minute that I have a story to finish. I see a cloud, like that one, shaped like a piano. And all I can think is, I have to use that. One of my characters has to see a cloud shaped like a piano. I smell the heliotrope. I make a mental note. A sickly sweet scent. A widow's color. Use it to describe a summer's evening. Every word you and I are saying to each other, every sentence, I capture and I lock up in the back of my brain because someday I can use them. And when I finish writing, I go out to the theater or go fishing to relax and get away from it all. You think I can? No. A great iron cannonball starts rolling around in my head. An idea for a new story. And I'm hooked. I can feel my desk reeling me in, and I have to go right and right. Every time. And I never get any rest. I feel like I am devouring my own life. Doesn't that sound crazy to you? You think my friends and family treat me as if I were sane? What are they working on now? They ask. It's all the same. And sometimes I think all the attention And all the praise and the adoration is just delusion. They're deluding me into thinking I'm sane when I'm really not. And someday they're gonna creep up behind me and drag me off to the crazy house. And when I was young, and could have been out enjoying myself, writing was sheer hell. A beginning writer, unless he feels completely lucky, feels completely out of place. Awkward, useless, nervous. He's obsessed with successful writers and people in the arts. He hangs around them, but nobody notices him. And he's afraid to look anyone in the eye. He's like a compulsive gambler with no money. I never knew who my readers were, but I had this vision of them, hostile, unimpressed. I was afraid of the public, terrified of it. And any time a new play of mine opened, I thought that people with dark hair hated it, and people with blonde hair were bored by it. It's horrible.
Excuse me, but doesn't inspiration, the process of creation, give you some satisfaction? A few moments of sublime happiness.
No. Well, when I'm writing, it's not bad. And doing the final editing, that's enjoyable. But once it's published, I can't stand to read it. I can immediately see how wrong it is. I realize I never should have written it, and I'm depressed and miserable. And then people read it, and they say, oh yes, very nice. He's quite talented, very nice. But he's no Tolstoy. Or, very good, but Pratchett and Gaiman's Good Omens was better.
Excuse me, but I don't understand any of that. I think success...
What's success? I'm never satisfied with what I write. I hate being a writer. The worst is when I'm in kind of a trance and I don't even know what I'm writing. I love this place. The fountain, the trees, the sky. I feel very close to nature. It inspires me. It gives me a real desire to write. But I'm not just a landscape painter. I'm also a citizen. I love my country and its people. And I feel that if I'm going to write, then I ought to write about them and their sufferings, their futures. Write about scientific advances and the rights of man and so on and so forth. And I do. And then people get angry with me and criticize me and attack me. I'm like a fox with a pack of hounds. And I see how science and life keep advancing and I keep falling behind. And finally, I'm convinced that the only thing I can write are landscapes. Anything else and I'm a fake. A complete fake.
You've been working too hard. You've lost any sense of your own significance. You may not like yourself, but the rest of us love you. If I were a famous writer, I'd sacrifice my entire life for my readers, but I'd have the satisfaction of knowing that I was the only image of happiness they had. And they'd draw my chariot through the streets.
Chariot? What, like Agamemnon?
If I could have that, I'd put up with rejection, poverty, disappointment. I'd be willing to live in a garret and starve. Maybe I wouldn't even like myself, but just as long as I was famous, really spectacularly famous. I feel dizzy.
Boris Alexeyevich?
They're calling me. Must be time to pack. Now I don't feel like leaving. God, how beautiful. Wonderful, isn't it?
You see that house over there? The one with the redwood?
Yes.
That's my mother's place. She's dead. I was born there. I've spent every moment of my life by this ocean here. I know every little island out there.
What a lovely spot. What's this?
A seagull. Konstantin shot it.
Why don't you try to convince Irina Nikolaevna to stay a little longer?
What are you writing?
Nothing. Just making it up. An idea for a short story. The shore of a beach, and a young girl who spent her whole life beside it. A girl like you. She loves the water the way a seagull does, and she's happy and free as a seal. But then a man comes along, sees her, and ruins her life because he has nothing better to do. Destroys her like this seagull here.
Where is that?
Out here!
I swear to God, if he's down fishing,
What?
we're staying.
My dream!